On a surprisingly sunny autumnal day, we're going to the 1970s to go to Hatton Cross. It's the next episode in our decade series, visiting tube stations by decades. But to get to Hatton Cross, I've obviously come to Feltham to get a bus.
That's because back in Tube Challenge days, that's where you tried to get around all the stations on the network in the fastest time possible, one of the tricks that I tried was when I got to Richmond on the District Line, I would take a southwest train down to Feltham, and from there, get on a bus from the stop to take me to Hatton Cross and Heathrow. In reality, it never was the speedy and best way to do the Heathrow branch. It is in fact better to either start or finish your route there, but it was just fun to go and do this bus connection again. And so here we are. Hello, Hatton Cross.
And it's brutal, it really is. Brutalist architecture right on this noisy traffic junction, the Great Southwest Road. Loads of cars, loads of lorries, loads of buses. But we'll try and find some pleasant things about Hatton Cross Tube Station.
It's on the Piccadilly Line, of course, and we'll get to the trains in a moment, but a little history first, in that Hatton Cross gets its name from the nearby hamlet of Hatton, a name derived from an Anglo-Saxon word that meant heath farmstead. And the cross, of course, is a modern term referring to the junction where Hatton Road meets the Great Southwest Road. Now, because I like to make anagrams out of station names, it was a joy to discover that Hatton Cross is a perfect anagram of the phrase Acton Shorts, and this adds yet another Acton name to the tube map, although if it's a short, then it should probably be represented in a portrait shape like this. Tube-wise, Hatton Cross was the western terminus here of the Piccadilly when it opened in 1975. It wasn't extended to Heathrow until 2 years later. But even when it did open, passengers were still advised to alight at Heathrow West, one stop up the line, and get a bus from there to get down to the airport. Now yes, the architecture is brutalist here, and there was originally a plan to have a car park on top of the station, but that never happened. However, look more closely at the edge of the roof and you'll see ripples on the concrete slabs. These are a frieze designed by William Mitchell, a design which almost everyone always misses. You may have also missed the tiny roundels in the ironwork here, part of the hanging baskets. But you probably are aware of the Speedbird artwork up here by the station entrance. We'll see it again at platform level in a moment, but here the design consists of graphics with interlocking shapes bringing warmth and vibrancy to the station building. And just outside the station is something brilliant. The original flower beds have been turned into a local community energy garden, a scheme that adds wildflowers, bird boxes, and most intriguingly of all, this solar panel.
So I read this when doing my research here in the energy garden. It said, come and see the solar panel, and it is a sunny day today, which I'm thrilled about because the sun is out, hitting directly on the solar panel, and it said, and I thought that can't be true, really, it said the solar panel turned into a little box where there is a USB-A socket where you can charge your phone. And I've come and had a look, and right here is a little USB-A socket where you can charge your phone. I also read in my research when looking this up that the mats by the doors here used to be automatic door openers, a bit like what you get in supermarkets, except I think they're infrared. Anyway, when this station opened in 1975, you approached the doors, trod on the mat, and the doors would then open automatically. Nowadays you just push them manually and the mats aren't working, but apparently that used to be a thing. On the platforms at Hatton Cross, do need to point this out. In previous videos, I've definitely got something wrong where I've been on the platforms of Pimlico on the Victoria Line and spoken about how that is the only station to have roundels which are in a light up box and they're lit up from behind. That's not the case. Can you see the light shining on my face right now? But Hatton Cross is also a station which has these manual light up boxes, but that is not the best platform feature at Hatton Cross.
Yes, one of my favourite features on the whole of the tube is here at Hatton Cross, but before we get to it, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Surfshark. As you may know, Surfshark have servers in over 100 countries around the world, with the main benefit being that you can switch your location on your phone, tablet, laptop or computer. This allows you to, for example, to get a better price when shopping for something online, as it can often be cheaper when bought from a different location. And another popular use is for streaming services, as you can watch different content depending on where you are in the world. So with Surfshark, you switch up your location and you can easily access different streaming content. Surfshark also encrypts your internet connection, which gives you an additional layer of protection online as it hides your digital identity, and unlike other VPNs, Surfshark can be used across multiple platforms on an unlimited number of devices from just one account. So if you want to secure your online privacy, then go to this link. That's surfshark.com/Geoff, where you'll get 4 months extra for free, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So where were we? Oh yes, the best thing about Hatton Cross, and it's this, the BOAC Speedbird logo. BOAC was the British Overseas Airways Corporation, and it used to be the logo used on aeroplanes until British Airways was privatised in the 1980s. They're everywhere here on the platforms at Hatton Cross. They look great, and there's several in blue and orange tiles on the pillars at the station. My favourite is this symmetrical shot that you can get at the far end. Bonus points if you can get 2 trains in at the same time, or this arty shot where you try and get several in frame at once. But I think the best thing about Hatton Cross is to mention the incredible travel hack that you can do here. In 2022, it became part of the Heathrow free travel zone. I've made a whole video about that here, where basically you can travel on the tube for free. But there's a sneaky travel hack that you may not know about, and that is that as the fare from Zone 1 to Heathrow is set as a peak fare at all times, you can save money if travelling from Zone 1 to Heathrow by breaking your journey and touching out at Hatton Cross and then touching back in again, and you get the last part of your journey for free and save money in the process. And that's almost it. But before I go, I can't help but wonder what this letter B is doing here. It looks like the letters out of a game of Countdown. If you know, let me know. Oh, and like many other Pick Line stations, even Hatton Cross has this old staff letters mailbox, no longer in use, one at each end of the platforms. They just look gorgeous.
And that is everything I can think to tell you about Hatton Cross from the 1970s, the decade of the 1970s, this from 1975, which leads us with a small problem because Heathrow 4, the next station down the line, is the only station on the London Underground built during the decade of the 1980s. But I've already covered Heathrow T4 in my End of the Line series, so I do not know what station to cover when it comes to the 1980s. If you have a suggestion, please kindly leave it in the comments. I will add this to the playlist of all the other episodes in this series, the Decade series. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye.